Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I wanted to talk about a couple things quickly with this little video. First off, I finished up all the grading this afternoon and got all the grades in. I think I caught everything. So you can go in to my grades on Blackboard and look at your grades. You get a percentage and a letter grade there. I wouldn't worry about grades too much at this point. It's too early in the semester. But if the grades are lower than you want it to be, it's because you've been blowing off the forums. Because most of the points that have come your way so far have been basically giveaway points. Either you just get them for showing up and doing stuff. We haven't had a really rigorously graded essay yet. So both, don't worry about the grades too much, and if you're blowing off the forums, change it up if you want to bring your grade up. That's what you need to do. I talked to a few of your colleagues who are doing really good entries and postings in the forums, and they're telling me they're spending about 4 hours a week, 4 to 5 hours a week. So that's pretty reasonable, considering you should be spending 10 hours a week on this class. That's about right. So if you're spending half an hour on Thursday afternoon, you're not going to get much of a return on your investment. And if you care about that, you need to change it up, and the sooner the better, obviously. If you want to know the stats, right now we've got 14 A's, 8 B's, 3 C's, 2 D's, 1 F, and then there are 2 people who haven't done even enough work to even be on the radar screen. They're falling off the bottom. That's obviously skewed way to the top, but again, that's because basically you're just getting a whole truckload of giveaway points, and that's why it's the things are skewed so heavily toward the top. Anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit about the topic sentence exercises last week. Most of you did a real good job on this and pretty much nailed it, but I wanted to go through those paragraphs with you for the folks who were still not quite understanding and confused, and talk about 2 things and then take you through those paragraphs. The first thing is, and the most important thing by far, is to remember that when you write a topic sentence or a thesis statement, that is a promise to your reader. You're saying, hey reader, I'm going to talk about this right here and only this right here. It's a contract with your reader. And to the extent that a writer can't stick to the contract, the writer's trustworthiness is compromised. Your veracity and your trustworthiness go out the window when you can't talk about what you promised to talk about. That's why it's important to get your topic sentences and your thesis statements together well, because a reader depends upon you to guide the discussion along the lines that you promise. And a reader may not even recognize that you're making a promise, but they're going to recognize when you have violated your promise, and your credibility goes out the window. That's why it's a big deal. The smaller deal is if you have paragraphs that aren't together and aren't organized and aren't controlled by their topic sentences, or if you have an essay that isn't controlled by its thesis, you get a lower grade, because that's what we're here to learn. So, as I said, about half you did really fine, just as well as I could have done myself with those exercises, but a few of you were a little bit confused, and so, but oddly enough, some of the folks who said they were confused went on to demonstrate that they weren't confused, and they understood perfectly well. So maybe it's just a habit to say you're confused in case you mess up. That's a defense mechanism that some people use. Okay, so if you want to pull those, stop this video for a minute and pull those paragraphs up on the forum from last week. I'll take you through them real quick and show you what the real mistakes were, and show you how the 3 that I gave you didn't keep their promises. So stop the video, get those things up on your screen, and then come back. Okay, we're going to look at the first one. I was born in Cleveland and shortly afterward moved to Los Angeles. So we're going to look at that one first. So the topic sentence is, because it's in the position where the topic sentence is supposed to be, is this: I was born in Cleveland and shortly afterward I moved to Los Angeles along with my mother and father and my 2 older brothers. Okay? So the paragraph is expected to be about the move to Los Angeles. That's what the topic sentence says. It's not rocket science and it's not a mystery. That's what it says. But the paragraph isn't about that. So the paragraph destroys itself, and by destroying itself, it destroys the writer's credibility and trustworthiness. And it's an easy fix. When you recognize you're not keeping your promise, you make a new promise, or you make sure you keep the original promise you made. It's that simple. As some of you noticed, and you were right on, if you went down and you read the last half of the paragraph, what this paragraph wants desperately to be about is this writer's religious experience. Half the paragraph is about his religious experience, and the language changes. So what this paragraph wants to be about is his religious experience. So the paragraph should be about that religious experience. The topic sentence should connect to the religious experience. Okay? And it's clear to you and to me that what he really wants to write about is the religious experience, but he doesn't promise to write about that. He promises to write about something else. So what's really important to him, his religious experience, is lost. And the reader won't see it because his topic sentence is wrong. So all you have to do, take that irrelevant stuff off, use it elsewhere in the paper, write a new topic sentence about the religious experience, and he's home free. He's keeping his promise. Number 2, the only reason I made it through my younger years is because I hold a certain philosophy. Okay? Again, that is the topic sentence of this paragraph. So what do you expect to hear about in that paragraph? This person's philosophy. And you hear a little bit about belief. And then you hear about how the person's husband helped her. And then you hear about the moves they've made. So again, the same problem with the previous one, except that this paragraph, there's no single point that this paragraph wants to be about. And you can tell that. So this isn't a paragraph, it's just a bunch of sentences not controlled by its topic sentence. So if this student wanted to write about her philosophy, then the entire paragraph, with no exceptions, must be about the philosophy. She should keep the promise. If she wants to talk about the moves they've made, then the paragraph, the topic sentence, needs to be about the moves they've made. She needs to keep her promise. You make a promise in your topic sentence, and then you decide whether you keep it or not in the drafting process. The reason I'm belaboring this right now is because you're going to be drafting drafts this week, and I want you to pay attention to your topic sentences because I want you to keep your promises. All right? So first one, second one have pretty much the same problems. At least the first one has a section that is coherent around the religious experience thing. The second one, much less so. There's no real section of more than 1 or 2 sentences that is coherent around anything. So the first one could be a paragraph. The second one has no chance of being a paragraph the way it's written. It's just a bunch of sentences, which means that student will confuse the reader and will not get listened to, and the person's credibility comes under question. The third one, and most of you got this one, my childhood started off pretty normal. Okay, well again, that's the topic sentence. So what do we expect? We expect to hear the reasons why the person's childhood was normal. We'd expect to hear a definition of what normal means to this writer, and then a list of examples and developed thinking about what a normal childhood was for this person. What do we hear about? We hear about a non-normal childhood. We hear about a bad childhood. So not only does this writer not keep the promise, this writer directly contradicts the promise. Again, the paragraph destroys itself, and as it destroys itself, it destroys the writer's credibility. No one will believe this person because the person is either deliberately lying or doesn't know how to keep a promise. So, I belabor that point just to say this to you. When you're working on your paragraphs this week and next week when we're doing peer review, work on those topic sentences. They're promises, and promises should mean something. In spite of what the politicians do, your word and my word should be worth something. And how we do that in writing is with our thesis statements and our topic sentences. Okay, so you recognize when your paragraph is pulling apart and you pull it back together, and if you can't pull it back together, you start over with a new promise and try to keep that one until you get it right. And it's not that hard. It's just a matter of paying attention to what you're putting on the page, as I've said a bazillion times before. So, thanks very much for your participation. Last week, the forum questions really are easy this week. They're designed to not take you very long because I know you're writing your draft and I don't want to overburden anybody. So keep your 10-hour time commitment and you'll be fine. Next week we'll do a draft exchange for peer review. And then the final version of this essay will be due a week from Monday. Okay, thank you very much. Talk to you later. Bye.